Let me start off this video by saying welcome back to Mopar, Tim Kuniskis. As a lifelong Mopar enthusiast and son of a retired Chrysler factory worker, I've recently started losing faith, and your return brings back some much needed hope. Now, I know the odds of you actually seeing and watching this vid is pretty much nil. I'm just a very small YouTuber without much reach, but I'm making it anyway, and who knows, maybe it'll catch the ear of someone within your circle. Although you may have seen me previously as a small piece of my failed attempt at becoming Dodge's chief donut maker did make it into a Dodge ad.
And I was born Dodge.
Dodge has been a part of my life since I was a literal baby.
Like I said, a really small piece. I was also front row at your Speed Week conferences back in 22 and was even featured in an article on Dodge Garage. But let's get to the point. I've heard rumors that one of the things you've been doing since coming back is having what I guess you would call brainstorming sessions to get ideas on how to reverse, well, all the negativity that's been going around in the Mopar world. But even before other YouTubers like Buttered Insider, TK's Garage mentioned these meetings, I knew I wanted to make this pitch to you, especially once I heard you came back. It's something I've wanted for years, decades even, and now might be as close to the perfect time for it than ever before, and that is a drag truck. Now, before you stop watching because maybe you're already talking about bringing the Hellcat back into the Ram or even the Demon 170 engine, according to Butter and TK, please hear out my full vision here and why I truly believe it'll help pull not just Ram, but also Dodge out of the darkness. And if something like this is already in the works, then consider this my show of support. When I say drag truck, I don't just mean a streetier performance version of the TRX. And as much as I absolutely love the old SRT 10s from the mid-2000s, that's not really what I'm thinking either. I'm talking about a full-on, built for the drag strip, but still street-legal Ram. Basically the same thing you did with the Demons and with my own 1320. And I'll share some details on what can make it truly stand out in just a moment. First is the why. Let's start by looking at Dodge, which I know is a separate division from Ram, but if we're being honest, they still go hand in hand. You already did the Demon back in 2018 and then a Demon 170 more recently, so you don't just want to do more of the same, not to mention a risk of even more negativity from current Demon owners. Plus, the Durango already has a Hellcat version. And sure, you could slap a Hemi or some new V8 in a new Charger body, which would definitely make a splash and make a lot of people happy, but that would really just get you closer to where you should have been all along. With Jeep, well, they kind of do their own thing, and what happens there I don't think will make a huge impact overall. We all know Chrysler needs some love and attention, but that's been true since before the Stellantis takeover, and I don't think will affect much in the short term either. But Ram, now that overlaps with a lot of the same market that Dodge does. Even myself, I currently own both a Ram and a Dodge. Just go to any modern street Hemi shootout drag racing event and you'll see the pits full of Dodge race cars being towed by Ram trucks. Some of which are even TRXs that then pull double duty and race on a track too. Which is another reason an actual Ram drag truck is needed and wanted. There's a large group of TRX owners out there drag racing these big old trucks that were built for off-roading and not really tearing up the asphalt. I've even raced against several, like here. Fact is, even though Ram has been its own division since 2009, everyone still calls them Dodge Rams. And I do mean everyone, like people in your very own dealerships, automotive software, even banks. The credit union I financed my Ram on the paperwork literally listed it as a Dodge Ram. All that to say, doing something big at Ram will have a major impact on the overall perception of Dodge as well. Honestly, you might as well merge them back together. That'll get people talking. Back to the drag truck though. It's different. And we all know that was literally Dodge's motto back in the day at one point. You already made the off-road king with the TRX, and it's made it up pretty high up on the list of quickest pickup trucks. But going off this fairly recent Motor Trend article here showing off the quickest trucks they've ever tested, the TRX did get bested by the Ford Raptor R, and that's just not right. No need talking about the EV trucks on this list. That's a different kind of comparison and kind of the reason we're in this mess to begin with. And although it is nice seeing the SRT10 on a list, it's kind of sad how low it's gotten considering it was at one time the #1 quickest truck in the world. It's even taken a back seat to the new Hurricane Rams, which, by the way, may be great engines, but they just feel out of place in a full-size truck to a lot of people. I mean, definitely keep them around, but don't keep them as the only option. Besides the fact that they honestly just don't sound that great. I even saw one person who's really well known within the Ram community, especially with racers, who has given the new Hurricane Rams a chance and even likes it, but still commented on how he doesn't want to modify the exhaust ever, as it just sounds horrible. Basically, the Hurricane is an engine that should be more like an EV, seen and not heard. Again, I keep veering off the topic of a drag truck. Imagine the splash this would make. This would get people talking about Ram and Dodge again. Or what I mean to say, talking about Ram and Dodge in a positive light again. It would get the attention of the competition. It would have the automotive world all riled up again. Around the world, they'd be talking about all the crazy stuff us Americans are doing, like it should be. And let's face it, that's another thing that's desperately needed. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram needs to be seen as American companies again. I know myself personally, especially as someone who grew up in Detroit, kind of took offense when he who shall not be named just outright said CDJR is not an American company anymore. So how do you make a drag truck do all that? Well, for starters, it can't just be a lowered two-wheel drive version of the TRX. The TRX is a big truck, and as I've proven with my 1320, and as I have no doubt you're aware of, weight is the enemy. The simplest and easiest solution would be to take the standard Ram body, throw a jailbreak red-eye engine in it, or even better, the Elephant C170, give it a drag-oriented suspension like in a Demons and 1320s, but tuned for a truck, and add some minor changes like unique hoods, smaller, lighter wheels with drag radials, and to really put it over the top, offer it in a single seat configuration. Most of that uses currently available parts and shouldn't require too much new R&D. And just imagine how people talk about Ram being so bold that they're literally offering a single seat pickup truck. That would be crazy talk. But I guarantee you the common sentiment will be, Dodge and Ram is back, baby! And isn't that what we want? Now that's with the simplest and easiest solution. But what if we go even crazier? So let me share what would be my dream vision. Based on the current Ram 1500 offerings, this drag truck should be based on the quad cab. But think how much better a regular cab would be. That's a huge weight savings. And you do offer the heavy-duty Rams with a regular cab, so it should be possible. Next, just like you went wider with the TRX for off-roading, you should go narrower for the drag strip. And what I mean by narrower is, bring back a step-side bed. Just picture it, a single-seat regular cab Ram with a step-side bed that has widened wheel wells to fit big drag racing meets underneath. And I'm talking max 18-inch drag wheels with narrow wheels for the front, lowered overall but with an aggressive stance, 1,000 horsepower, or at least 800, drag-tuned suspension, and ready to take on more hardcore drag racing goodies like the Demon 170 is with direct connection. This is easily a recipe for a 9-second full-size Ram truck, all while still being street legal. And that is how you make a statement. That is how you turn things around. That is how you change people's perception. You even already have the perfect name, especially if you made a step side happen. And I know some of you already know what I'm thinking here, and that's Lil Red Express. Yes, the truck that in 1978 was the quickest American-made vehicle you could buy, quicker even than the Mustang and Corvette of the day. If you don't believe me, look it up. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect. Heck, you could even offer an exhaust stack option to put the proverbial cherry on top. The only limitation here is that it could only come in a color red. Otherwise, Little Red Express wouldn't make sense on a black or a blue or a green truck. This is where having a companion truck like the original Warlock was to the Little Red Express could come in handy. But you guys did kind of ruin the Warlock name when you made it into a sticker package on regular Rams. And I say that as someone whose dream truck is and has always been a black 1977 Dodge Warlock. One day I'll have you. Finally, I want to add what this would mean to me personally and why this is something I felt I needed to make this video for. Like I said before, I'm a Mopar lifer who has been honestly wavering a bit recently. This would be the jolt I desperately need. It's also something I've always dreamt of. I remember when the Ram VTS concept came out and how I wished it was real and wish I could get one. I mean, I even built this little Ram VTS model. It's unfortunately fallen apart a little bit over the years, but you get the idea. It wasn't just all dreams though. I've always owned Ram trucks, my first being a 1986 Ram. Then I got a 93 Dodge Ram with a 318 Magnum V8 that was a factory freak and would take down Mustang GTs on the streets of Detroit. Seen here after taking the saying, if you can't dodge it, ram it, a little bit too seriously. But boy did it come back with a vengeance. This truck is what started my love of drag racing, not just on Gratiot Avenue either. It did make its way up to Ubley a time or two. After that was a 97 Ram, again with a 318. I was one of the few people back in the day drag racing full-size trucks. I even have a bunch of time slips here to prove it. And these are all from the late 90s into early 2000s. I mean, this truck has raced at Milan Dragway outside of Detroit, Thunder Alley in El Paso when I was in the Air Force, Texas Motorplex in Dallas, National Trail in Ohio at the Mopar Nationals, and in Norwalk for the Chrysler Classic. The racing continued with my 2002 Dodge Ram, this one with the 360, again seeing drag racing action at the Mopar Nationals and down here in Texas. Since then, trucks like the SRT-10 came out and the truck racing scene has absolutely exploded. Unfortunately, during this time, drag racing had to take a bit of a hiatus in my life, and that is until I got my 1320. In the years I've been racing my 1320, I've regularly met with several people racing Ram trucks at just about every single track I've gone to, especially out here in Texas where we have Moe's Performance helping show what full-size Ram trucks are capable of. I even randomly met up with a former record holder for naturally aspirated Ram trucks who turned out literally lived just 2 blocks from me. And as much as I absolutely love my 1320, and even though I plan to never part with her, I still always feel this sense of longing, if that's the right word, every time I see a Ram racing at the track. The truth is, I miss racing a Ram, and it just feels like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. It's what I want to do. And if you make a new Ram drag truck a reality, I guarantee you I will be the first in line to get one. As long as I don't get screwed over by the dealer like I did with the Demon 170, but let's not go there. Build it and you'll have my full unwavering support back. You'll have me back as an unpaid and unofficial brand ambassador, just like I have been since the 1990s up until the recent fiasco. You know I'll make countless vids with it, break records with it, I'll make Ram and Dodge proud, and if my dad, who spent 24 years of his life working at the Warren stamping plant as a pipe fitter, were still alive, well, I'm sure he'd be proud too, even though he never really did understand my love of racing. So this is my idea, my dream, my wish. This is my belief as to what would help make a huge positive impact for both Ram and Dodge. And even though I know that you, Mr. Kuniskis, aren't going to see this video, I still make this plea to you. And to those of you who are watching this, thank you for sticking around and hearing me out. I mean, who knows, maybe one of you might have the connections to relay this to the very top. I mean, a boy can dream, right? Finally, to everyone still watching, feel free to leave your comment down below on what you think. Maybe we can use my little corner of YouTube here as our own little brainstorming session. And with that, whether it's in my 1320 or a future Little Red Express, I'll see you at the drag strip.